I'm the type of gamer that likes to play the game and watch the cutscenes, but not really read any files, or notes, or really look up any lore for that matter. So I had the brilliant idea to talk about the game's story from yours truly, from my point of view, because I pretty much have all the qualifications, am I right? I mean, I got the game, I beat it multiple times, and I have a YouTube channel. So here I am, poorly explaining Resident Evil 5. There's some weird plague mask wearing person just kind of staring and walking around this other guy, with cuts of jeeps kind of pulling up into I don't even know where. Then we see the guy get some weird worm things engulfing him, and then we get a scenic view of what I'm guessing is Africa. We got Chris, who is one of the two main characters in the first game, driving down a dirt road talking about how bioweapons have hit vulnerable countries, and then says that government officials feared another incident like Raccoon City, so they basically turned to some group called the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium, and that they created the anti-terrorism unit BSAA, and that the BSAA are sent out whenever they need to stop bioterrorism hotspots. And the BSAA is the main group that Chris is a part of, along with a lot of other Resident Evil characters. We pull up on Sheva and oh look, we are actually in Africa. She tells us that our reputation precedes us. And I'm not gonna lie, Sheva has a strong case as the most attractive woman in Resident Evil. She tells us that no one is happy to see an American there, and that's why she's there, to ease the tension, because we're white.
I just don't want to get into a formal thing here. I'm white, you know? I'm white.
And let's be real, a lot of places don't like Americans, so I understand that. A lot of us are assholes, I get it, but hey, I'm Mexican. This man tries to feel up Sheva, and right before Chris could intervene, she tells the man to stop touching her, and I think I love her. It's gameplay time, motherfuckers, and we find out that there will be a black market weapons deal going down in Kajuju, and that Irving, whoever that is, will be there. I walk up to these guys beating up a moving bag, so I step in like, stop it, stop it, I'm white, you better stop it, or else I'll sue you so fucking hard. But I don't really know what's going on with this guy's face, so I decide to walk away.
God damn it, I don't know what it is about your face, but I want to deliver one of these right in your suck hole.
Is there anything I can do to work on that?
No, not really, it's your face.
And then a siren goes off and quite literally everyone disappears. We meet with this guy who hands us our weapons and now it's pew pew time. With this cutscene, oh my god. Apparently we need to meet up with Alpha Squad, and then the man tells us a bit about Ouroboros, or Ouroboros. Sometimes I want to roll my R's, sometimes I don't, alright?
Yeah, can I get carne asada fries?
No.
Yes!
No. Say it right.
I can't roll my R's.
I'll wait.
Okay. Can I get carne asada fries?
He just says how it's a doomsday project and that we need to find Irving since he's our only lead. We carry on into the next building and these guys look like my mom forcing me to eat her cooking when I was a kid. We tell them to stop because this guy obviously doesn't like their cooking, so they shove it down his throat and then run off. And we kind of just let them run away. Kind of like, then the man that got force-fed caca starts to attack us, so I shoot him. We then get swarmed by a horde of infected, and your boy isn't a bitch, so I stay and murder the entire village. It also kind of helps that I have unlimited ammo. Sheva is starting to think that HQ was expecting the citizens here to be Pollo Loco. I'm not gonna lie, Sheva is pretty quick on the conspiracy shit. But then again, so am I. You can never trust the government. We get to another cutscene where it looks like an angry mob, and I swear to God, the only guy in Africa with sunglasses is yelling. And oh shit, they got that guy that gave us our guns. And now his head is gone. I'm no doctor, but I think that he might be dead. Also, I stand corrected because it is not your angry mob. It's actually just your usual public execution. And then the dude with the sunglasses sees us watching and he's like, hey, white man, get him.
A white man broke in today.
A white man? No! Well, what did security do about it?
Nothing.
Typical!
So now it's basically a last stand type of moment until Kirk, the homie that's flying the helicopter randomly somewhere, I don't know where he is, but I know he'd be flying a helicopter. Anyways, until he can open up the gates for us to let us out. Big Axe Boy shows up, but bringing an axe to a gunfight isn't exactly the smartest idea. We hold out until Kirk gets there and he blows up the gates that were keeping us in the area. We leave the area and are happily beating people up until we hear Alpha Team rudely interrupt our stroll by screaming about some monster that's fucking up their whole squad. I see a white girl getting dragged away, so I'm like, we catch up to her almost immediately and she falls into our arms kind of romantically and shit, and then tries for a quick makeout session, but I swear to God, none of the guys in Resident Evil are simps. Maybe except for Leon with Ada. So he shoots her in the head since I don't know any other way to reject a girl.
It's just that it's so hot.
Missy, if you think that is gonna... Owie, wowie! Baby wants mommy! Make it dirty!
Also turns out HQ lost contact with Alpha Team, so now we need to hustle our bustle to them. We get to this building where we hear a scream and then run into a guy just doing that weird, slow, I'm dying kind of thing. And then we find all of Alpha Team dead as well. Oh, wait, spoke too soon. All but one. He tells us that they were set up and that Irving got away. He hands us a floppy disk with the data regarding the Black Arms deal. I guess this man just kind of downloaded it from their computer without them stopping him. And Sheva sees something fleeing, so we pursue. Oh yeah, and then this guy actually ends up dying. We get into the basement and grab a key, and then right when we're about to use the key, this fucking monstrosity shows up, and Chris is a smartass and is all like,
I think that's what got Alpha Team.
and I don't know what's with Resident Evil making little things combining into big things, kind of like the leeches in Resident Evil 0, but we put down the giant ass worm monster, and then we continue on until we're topside again. It kind of looks like the person that Sheva saw is keeping tabs on us, and then we relay the information on the floppy disk to HQ. Oh my god, it's a Leon Kennedy fucking reference, yes. I don't know how I missed this throughout my years of playing this game, but I am so fucking happy right now. I fucking love Leon, dude. HQ tells us that the mission stands and that we need to find Irving. Chris is like, no way, Jose, we are the last two here. And HQ, as matter of factly, says, nah, we sent Delta Team out there to help you guys. Now get your asses to the mines. Sheva is not too happy about this. And then Chris asks if she ever feels like she's expendable, and I mean, damn, bro. It's kind of like our actual government too, am I right? We leave the garage and, Sheva, do you mind moving, please?
I don't have a clean shot, Schmidt.
Then don't take the shot.
Maybe I want to take a dirty shot.
This man Tokyo drifts onto the bridge, but he doesn't have any family, so he dies. And I don't think Sheva's boobs need to bounce this much, but I'm all for it. We start to get a bit overran and Kirk the pilot comes in and gives us a hand. A little bit later, we see Kirk getting attacked by flying worm-like things, and he's quite literally crying out, I'm being attacked by flying BOWs, I'm going down. And Chris is all like, bruh, Kirk, what's going on? As if Kirk didn't just scream it into our ears. But what's going on?
You serious? I just told you that a moment ago.
Right.
We run into a chainsaw wielding enemy, kind of like in Resident Evil 4, but there's nothing much to say here. We just take him out and move on to the next area. And this next area is where Kirk generously provides his body as fuel for the bonfire. And then bingo bango, we're getting attacked by a biker gang. Some pretty damn near impossible shots save our asses momentarily until Delta Squad shows up and saves us for good. Turns out that Sheva knows the captain, and Chris might not be the jealous type, but I sure as fuck am. Anyways, Josh over here tells us that they believe that Irving is going into the mines, and then he hands us a little chip. Chris pulls out his handy dandy BlackBerry, inserts the chip, and then sees Jill. He doesn't tell Sheva, although we know that Chris is in love with Jill, so it's kind of a big fucking deal. We're at the train station now and the mines are just past this area, but whoever was supposed to watch the dogs didn't do a very good job because they're running amok. We get past the dogs and get into the mines where I can't see jack shit, and my GPS is unavailable, which honestly, it kind of makes a lot of sense. I could barely get any signal inside of any school I've ever been in, so I couldn't imagine any signal getting this far down. We find a handy dandy lantern here, but of course, only one person can hold it, which reminds me, why the fuck didn't Chris bring a flashlight? I mean, Leon brings a flashlight, Jill brings a flashlight, fuck, even Chris's sister Claire brings a flashlight, and she's not even a cop or a special agent or anything. Anyways, we shoot ourselves out of the mines and run into Irving, and I gotta say, Irving just literally says that he's Irving. That's it. He's like, yeah, I'm Irving.
Hi.
And Sheva instantly starts pressing my guy like, you're just a basic ass bitch piece of shit that looks like a beetle. You are no better than any other fucking terrorist out there. You're fucking weak.
What does that even mean? Like you're a thing? What, like garbage or a piece of shit?
I'm like, goddamn, Sheva, chill, Jesus. Irving is also moving around like he just did a line of cocaine. I mean, this man is jittery as fuck. Right when we're about to pop him in the head, this masked vigilante came through and saved Irving. We see that they're in the oil fields or some shit. I'm honestly not too sure what this piece of paper means, but the oil fields are in the marshlands because, you know, not like we need another BP oil spill incident, I guess. So off to the marshlands we go. But before we can leave the area, however, I'm not too sure who gave this guy a license, but he swerves thanks to literally nothing in the road.
Oh, SpongeBob! Why?
And out of the back end of the truck is what I can only explain as a bat, centipede, pig thing.
I'm talking, of course, about Man-Bear Pig. It is a creature which roams the earth alone. It is half man, half bear, and half pig.
He fucks Sheva up and no one touches my bitch.
Hi, boys.
But his limp ass body falls in front of this little hut that I mistakenly backed myself into, and so I'm stuck, man. I cannot get out of this fucking hut. I patiently wait for him to gather himself and then I put him down for good. Well, I mean, kind of. I'm not really too sure because this cutscene shows Chris being all heroic and shit, and then he shoots this thing 3 times, but it doesn't really show where he hit it. And the creature kind of just forgets how to fly and then falls with the truck. I don't really get it. But that takes care of that for now. So then a rando comes out of buttfuck nowhere and picks us up. Like, where the fuck were you earlier? So it kind of looks like Sheva's manspreading wider than I have in my entire life. And I know this driver's getting a whiff of that, Jesus. But let's be honest, I'd still smash, man. I give that old spit shine. You guys know what I mean, that little... Then a few guys come out on motorcycles trying to shoot us down, and then we find out that most of the population there was infected with a plague called Las Plagas, which if you don't know is in Resident Evil 4. Chris is all like, what does that have to do with Ouroboros? But the person on the other line has no idea, so that's kind of helpful. We've been shooting at these guys for so long that apparently the sun went down. And oh no, look at that, the bridge is out. But our driver is one committed chauffeur.
Nani?
And holy shit, dude, there is no way. There's no ramp on this. I don't know how he got so much air. I've only seen one other man this committed to driving, and it's this man.
Go down to the corner and make a right. Hurry up, I'll chase her. Who? The girl who stole my weed. Go, hurry up.
Stole your weed? Fucking bitch, I'm gonna kill her.
Go get her, baby.
We get to another town and a foot squishes the rando, and it turns out that the foot was attached to a bigger, grayer version of the drug dealer on 21 Jump Street. You know, this guy. We decide to get into the Jeep with the 2 turrets, although this monster literally introduced himself by throwing one of the Jeeps, but okay. Unpopular opinion here, but they probably should have just drove away instead of sitting in the turrets.
Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
And then the weirdest boss fight ever happens. We sit in this truck and this guy just does not come up to us to fuck us up like he did the other Jeeps. Apparently he tries, but we shoot him a bit and he's like, oh god, this fucking hurts, let's not do that again. And then backs up and tries to throw shit at us. Even though sometimes he comes up and just stares at us. I feel like at any point in time he could have just thrown our Jeep, or instead of swinging at us directly, why not just hit the Jeep with a giant ass telephone pole? Like this guy's trying to swing at some bees with a bat when he could just swing at the beehive.
No! No! What is he doing?
Oh, they're stinging him.
No.
I don't know, but anyway, that's besides the point. We end up killing him, and I actually kind of really like his belt. It is like so fetch. Sheva's all like, yeah, we should get the fuck out of here. And then Chris finally tells Sheva that he is here to rescue Jill now, that it's personal, and then he just kind of walks away. And Sheva's like, well, fuck, I guess I'm gonna go too. I'm your partner. I'm your ride or die. Which is funny because Chris just said that Jill was his partner, so he has to save her, and yet completely ignores his current partner's feelings and acts like she's not important. My man Chris is either in love with Jill or he has crazy trust issues. I don't really know. We enter the marshlands and Sheva asks what happened to Jill. Cue the music. It was a dark and stormy night. The attempts to find Wesker since Rockford Island have been futile. Chris has a reliable source informing him where Umbrella's founder could be. Chris and Jill set out to find Spencer in hopes that he can lead them to Wesker. They open the doors to see Wesker standing menacingly. Chris and Jill open fire immediately. Holy shit, bro. Wesker is on his Super Saiyan shit. It's time to pack up and go home, Chris. This man is dodging bullets. The fight rages on with the burning white intensity of 1,000 suns until Wesker chooses to end Chris's life. As Wesker is about to land the killing blow, Jill tackles Wesker out of the window, making the ultimate sacrifice, leaving Chris there alone, heartbroken and possibly concussed. Fuck man, now I know why Chris is in love with Jill. I mean, I would be too. Chris asks Sheva why she's here, and it was a dark and stormy night. No, just joking. Sheva might have one of the weakest backstories ever. She goes, well, my parents were involved in a pharmaceutical accident when I was younger. And whenever you hear the word pharmaceutical in Resident Evil, just assume that it's gonna be Umbrella. Chris literally says, Umbrella? And Sheva's like, wow, how'd you know? It turns out that the accident was to cover up the manufacturing of biological weapons, and that bioweapons killed her parents. Although we don't know if they were killed by a bioweapon or tested on and died. She continues on, somebody has to pay. I don't know why I made that voice, I just did, okay? Anyways, but she doesn't know who exactly is gonna pay. So she's kind of just wandering around aimlessly, I guess. She says there's only so much that one person can do, and that even a superhero like Chris can't do everything. And Chris is all like, oh, I'm no superhero. Okay. Our objective here is to find 4 pieces of a tablet type key so we can open up this door. So we kill some guys, slap some alligators, and kill some chickens. We end up getting all 4 pieces to open this door that leads to a nice little village where I get swarmed by the usual suspects and a new head honcho guy that has an extremely large spiky mallet. We kill all the guys and enter a very fucking random gondola to exit the area. The next area that we end up in, the locals aren't too fond of Americans, but you know what they are fond of? Alligators. I'm not too sure if they're offering people to the alligators as a tribute, like the alligators are their gods, or if they're just bored and are all like, you know what sounds fun? Let's make these alligators do some fucking tricks.
Oh, Tuesday nights we get fucked up and throw apples at joggers.
Like maybe they have alligators for a showcase or something. I'm not too sure. We have dog shows. Maybe they have alligator shows. Who knows? We massacre everyone and get to an area that finally looks like an oil field. And guess who's here to greet us?
But wait! There's more!
He has a fucking brother. So we take care of Leatherface and his long lost brother Pleatherface.
You could tell our parents started with naming with him. It's like, oh, Michael. They had that one planned before they even got pregnant, I bet. And then they found out I was attached along for the ride and they said, ah, shit. Well, just fuck it. Call him Pikel.
And run into Josh of all people. But please tell me how he does not recognize Sheva and Chris. Jesus Christ, Josh. One is in a fucking bikini and the other's white. Josh says that we should leave, but Sheva tells him that we're trying to find Chris's friend, and then Josh just has a change of heart and is all like, oh, a friend you say? Well shit, stay as long as you'd like. Then we get overran by enemies with the chainsaw triplet as the icing on the cake. But as always, we escape the area, and then Josh tells us that Irving is trying to blow up the place and escape, so we need to get to the docks because that's likely his only way of escaping. My dude Irving knows how to party. I mean, look at this boat.
I'm on a boat, take a good hard look at the motherfucking boat.
Toucan Sam doesn't like to party, and instead of doing quite literally anything, we just kind of watch Irving drive off in the boat. Josh says that he's actually secured a boat, and then we have like 2 minutes to get across the docks, which wouldn't be so bad if we didn't have a wave of guys chasing us, followed by this refrigerator of a man with his dogs, as well as these traps that I swear were not here earlier. Josh is fucking useless at using his gun, but he looks fine as fuck holding one. The place explodes, and as always, once again, we escape. Josh asks what happened to Irving. Chris and Sheva just have to sit there in their own fucking disappointment because they literally just watched the man fucking leave. Josh elects to go after Irving with us, and of course, these fucking infected also know how to drive a boat because, you know, what the fuck else is new? Not much goes on in this area. We just drive to this docking area, but the doors are closed, so we have to open the door by pulling levers. We rinse and repeat a couple of times until we quite literally run into Irving's boat. And my god, this man has to be the worst shot on a minigun I've ever seen in my life. He might even be worse than Shay. We see a flashback of Irving having a civilized talk with Chisaki, and she tells him to use the Uroburos to take care of Chris and Sheva. Flash forward to real time and Irving injects himself and turns into a super alligator. And he's just kind of the tongue. I'm not really too sure how that makes sense. This boss fight consists of us shooting his tentacles until he pops up at the back of the boat where we have to shoot his tongue. Although fuck all of that, my main concern is who the fuck is driving this boat right now? I swear the driver's gotta be like... So we shoot the super alligator enough to have him spit out Irving, which once again makes no sense. Irving seriously tells us nothing just to go into this cave over yonder, and then he kind of just evaporates. We pull up to the cave and Sheva recognizes the boat that the Fruit Loops mascot was on. Josh says that he will try to get us some fucking backup like we needed since like the beginning, and then we say fare thee well to Joshua. Sheva is stuck on a name that Irving said, that name being Xtra, because I guess Xtra is the director of Tricell's Africa's division. And don't ask me what Tricell is because I have no earthly idea. They could be making hair ties for all I know. And of course, this wouldn't be a Resident Evil game without some variation of a spider enemy, so I trust Sheva to have my back, but she ends up shooting me in the back instead, so thanks, partner. We get to the next area and it looks like some underground Indiana Jones shit, but I could also be wrong because I honestly have never seen Indiana Jones. I know, shocker. But I have ridden the ride at Disneyland, so that counts for something. And this looks pretty Indiana Jones-y to me. So we get through the waves of guys and this really weird balls on fire part, and of course I gotta go touch the fucking fireball.
Trust me when I say you are not gonna want to touch this bad boy.
I want to touch it.
And you certainly don't want to touch any of its friends.
Yeah, I want to touch him.
And then just look at this sequence and tell me this doesn't just scream Indiana Jones. Chris and Sheva do a completely unnecessary jump over each other type of dive, and then we escape the trap. We get to another really elaborate room where we have to pull on these statues' hands to reorganize the staircases, just to get to another statue that reorganizes the staircases, and so on. Eventually we pull on this statue and guess who comes back for seconds?
I didn't hear no bell.
We put the wannabe man-bear pig down for good this time and get to the end of the area where we get a cutscene of this busty woman injecting Wesker with the COVID vaccine. It looks like they had a business transaction where she gets to keep her job and Wesker gets to finish Ouroboros. I'm not really sure how that's a fair trade, but you know, whatever. But this girl blatantly hits on Wesker.
Oh, I have my eyes set on something much bigger.
But we all know, Wesker don't need pussy. And honestly, with the amount of women that he rejects, I'm starting to think that Wesker might be gay. Then she says that Chris is here and if they should be concerned, and Wesker's all like, bitch shut up, everything is going according to plan, alright? So she leaves. Then we get a flashback of Wesker killing Spencer. You know, Spencer. The guy that I talked about for a whole 5 seconds in my Resident Evil 0 and 1 poorly explained. Well, Wesker kills Spencer and then tells Spencer that Wesker is going to be a god. Then we see some giant ass missiles with Ouroboros on the side. I mean, subtlety is out the fucking window with Wesker, man. Might as well just tell everyone what the fucking plan is.
Loki, he's a full-tilt diva. Right? He wants flowers, he wants parades, he wants a monument built to the skies with his name plastered. Son of a bitch.
We get back to Chris and Sheva and it looks like these people have harnessed the power of the sun.
You people? You people?
We go around and collect these 3 medals that we need to open up this door, and then the next area is just a weak ass puzzle where you have to turn these light reflectors to the elevator one, and that's about it. It's really nothing to rave about. Honestly, it's a complete waste of time. We get to this area that from what I'm understanding, the flowers aren't even fucking real, and then Chris sees the Umbrella logo here, and it looks like Tricell and Umbrella are actually working together. And then that's the end of the chapter, which is dumb because I really wanted to know what these flowers did. But Chris is literally like, these are no ordinary flowers. And then that's about it. Sheva's all like, I can't believe Tricell and Umbrella are working together. And Chris goes, oh well, we'll worry about them later. We need to find Jill. As if this motherfucker didn't just stumble upon the conspiracy of all God-given conspiracies. He's just like, nah, Jill comes first. Sorry about that, that'll wait. We then get a glimpse of something crawling on the roof and my game crashes.
What? What the fuck?
After I get rebooted up, we get to this lab where they have the flowers, and Chris is all like, I don't know how, but I feel like they might be using this to produce biological weapons. And honestly, if I was this deep as Chris is, I'd just blame everything on Umbrella. You see this rock right here? I bet Umbrella is using it for terror. Me getting blown up from an oversized giant fireball? Definitely bioweapon. Sheva's all like, oh, be careful, I saw something. So I shoot the glass because fuck being careful. And then bam, a fucking liquor pops out of nowhere and gives me a good licking. And then this happens. All because your boy wants the smoke.
Few moments later.
But then I quickly realized that I'm way in over my head right now.
There's 7 of us and
8, 9. Did you count that one?
I think so. Will you all stop moving around? So frustrating! I think I counted one of you twice.
It's like a liquor brought his goons to the party and I'm the main course. I spray and pray my way out of this mess like,
hey, Korean Jesus. I don't know if you only cater to Korean Christians or if you even exist. No offense. I just, I'm really freaked out.
and we get on an elevator to escape the liquors. There are a shit ton of pods here, and Chris is just all like, oh, Jill could be here. Just then someone sounds the alarm and we see a tube open up and that guy just kind of falls, like super random. I know, kind of weird. I'm not really sure why they showed that. Chris runs to the computer and I'm guessing he's looking for Jill. Turns out she is actually here somewhere. So the platform lowers to where she is, and oh my god, look at this angle of Sheva. Oof. The elevator stops, Sheva asks why. That's why, Sheva. We have the world's largest crab about to show us what his big meaty claws do.
Well, these claws ain't for just attracting mates.
I kind of pay it no mind because I'm trying to grab a grenade and he slaps me for the blatant disrespect. But I eventually use the grenade for what I intended to use it for. Somehow blowing a hole in its armor, I start to spray the big squishy pink part and kill the giant crab. We get to Jill's pod and it's empty. Then this fine woman talks to us. Sheva tells us that that is actually Xtra. Chris is asking about Jill and Xtra doesn't say anything, but honestly I'm so distracted by her dress that I have to rewatch this like 6 fucking times just so I could fucking fill out the script here. Our new mission is to find Xtra, so we walk our way down this corridor and these motherfuckers now have AK-47s. Like, what has this game come to? The next few areas are just giant shit shows of gunfights, but then we get into an elevator and we get mixed up in Xtra's radio channel and we end up hearing her talking to Albert. Albert is Wesker's first name for those of you who don't know. Terrible name for a villain, I know. Fucking Fat Albert ass name, am I right? And Chris is all like, yo, I thought Wesker was dead. Like, bro, you just found out Jill was alive. You think Jill can survive, but God mode ass Wesker couldn't?
Congratulations, you played yourself.
We kill more liquors, kill more guys, kill whatever the fuck this thing is, and then we steal from a dead guy and he doesn't like that too much.
Well, he ain't getting any deader.
And we eventually get to this room where this guy is just kind of sitting here. Fine ass Xtra is here and I guess this sleeping guy is infected with Uroboros, so she sicks him on us. Before the fight could commence though, Chris asks Xtra what exactly she's using Uroboros for if she isn't gonna sell it to terrorists. And she kind of complies and just tells him. I don't really get these villains telling our protagonist their whole plans, I really don't. Literally 10 minutes ago she was all like,
as if I need to explain myself to you.
But now she's like, oh, all right, yeah, sure, I'll tell you. But she says that she's going to use it for evolution. And I guess Uroboros could decide who will get superpowers and who will turn into monsters based on their DNA. Sleepy Boy here wasn't really worthy, so he gets consumed and we got ourselves a good old-fashioned bioweapons boss fight. It really doesn't like fire, so I ignore that fact and I just end up shooting it. Problem is, I'm shooting at it for like goddamn 20 minutes, so I pull out the good old trusty rocket launcher and blow him up. It dies, and then the doors unlock and we have another firefight on our hands. And I get hit with the fucking rocket launcher of all things. But remember, Chris is not a superhero, so of course we live, because that makes sense. We get back on the platform where we fought the giant crab and it's the most nauseating platform ever. Just a little insight on my life. When I was a kid, my dad took me to the park and they had like the little merry-go-round thing, you know, where you just sit on it and it just spins. And I swear to God, my dad just went full on fucking adult mode and just started spinning that shit so fast, like I thought I was gonna fly off. I get home and I puke my brains out. Ever since then, I do not do anything spinning, man. I get PTSD from it. So before I can lose my lunch, we finally get off the stupid carnival ride and into this area where more fucking liquors are coming at us, all while we are attempting to turn on the power. We end up doing so and end up lowering the bridge to the next area, and oh my god, bro, Xtra is just Jesus. Then the random ass bird person comes and attacks us. We somehow, someway shoot off their mask and Wesker shows up finally. Wesker pulls back the hoodie and it's Jill. But honestly, it wasn't much of a surprise by this point. Bitch does one of the coolest moves I've ever seen on Chris. And then a little girl on girl action.
Catfight!
Wesker sucker punches Sheva and then we get into a 2-on-2 fight. Wesker starts doing some really cool little twirly kicks, along with some sweet breakdancing moves, and then kicks me through a goddamn door. But joke's on him because that's the door that was locked, so he just helped me open it. Even if it was using my own body as a battering ram.
You need to have your heels hitting this wall.
Wesker eventually calls off the fight, basically saying that Chris isn't really worth his time anymore. And then Wesker just casually leaves while Jill comes and kind of ruins my vacation in Africa. Chris yells Jill's name and she like rips her shirt open to reveal her cleavage. Oh wait, there's actually a little device on her chest, which now is our main target. I shoot the device while she's standing and then throw her on the ground. I shoot the device when she's on the ground and oopsies, I guess the game doesn't like that. Lesson learned. Alright, round 2. I could watch Sheva do this to Jill all day. But we get the device off of Jill and it seems to have snapped her out of her mind control. She says that she couldn't really control her actions, but she was aware of everything, which just sounds awful. Jill tells us to go and stop Wesker. Chris is reluctant to leave Jill, and Jill pulls the
"Don't you trust your partner?"
And God, this music is way more intense than it needs to be, I swear. But anyway, we escape the ruins or facility or whatever this is, and we see Wesker and Xtra walking like the beautiful couple that they are, and we give chase. We are now somehow on a boat, and I'm not too sure how we snuck on the boat, but I usually don't question it, I just play the games. We get a new enemy type, and then we accidentally get Sheva trapped in a cage, so we get her out of her makeshift prison and get inside of the ship. Chris isn't too worried about finding Wesker. He says that once Wesker finds out that we are here, then Wesker will find us. Sheva asks what happened with Chris and Wesker, and Chris is all like, "I might tell you later."
That was a particularly harrowing memory.
And I gotta say, I'm currently going through Resident Evil 6 for Poorly Explained, and Helena does the same exact shit. The whole, "Oh, I can't tell you my backstory, I'll tell you later." And I'm sick of this shit. Just sum it up for her. Jesus Christ, Chris, stop trying to be all mysterious, please. We run into Xtra's side boob, and somehow, someway she gets away, although Chris and Sheva are both pointing a gun at her. So I'm not too sure how they missed her from point blank range. Unless they were trying to do some non-lethal shots, I'm not too sure how you missed that. We did, however, shoot a briefcase out of her hand. And this might be one of the only times that I could use this meme, since briefcases aren't as common in these type of games. Kind of like how we don't see a lot of frisbees, so you know, here you go.
Yeah, tell him. Yo, here I go, they call me Briefcase Joe. I write my lyrics down for a keepsake, yo.
We don't really know what the item is that Xtra dropped. However, we grab one of them and then there's more gameplay time. Someone rings the alarm, and so we have to make our way through waves of gun-wielding enemies, including Big Daddy with a chain gun, 3 guys with a rocket launcher, and some fucking spiders of all things. Like, what the fuck is this, Noah's Ark? Wesker is watching us on the cameras, and we get a little flashback again with Wesker and Spencer. Spencer is saying how the Wesker children were made to be a superior breed of human, but only this Wesker survived. Wesker asks if he was manufactured, kind of like Mewtwo, but then Spencer is just talking more about how he should have been a god and got this and got that, not really answering the question. So Wesker actually pulls a Mewtwo and destroys his own creator.
We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon. And we succeeded.
That is, if Spencer actually is his creator. It's kind of a weird little twist considering Wesker seemed like a pretty average dude in Resident Evil 1, but now I guess he's trying to be a god and could have been manufactured in a lab or something. We end up outside of the ship again, and there's a pile of bodies, and Xtra has that morning sickness like Wesker just got her pregnant, and then Wesker on the intercom has a really weird way of saying that Ouroboros is about to spread across the planet. Xtra is confused as to why her pussy power didn't work on Wesker, and like I said, Wesker took an oath to be president of the He-Man Woman Hater Club.
Do solemnly swear to be a He-Man and hate women and not play with them or talk to them unless I have to. And especially never fall in love. And if I do, may I die slowly and painfully and suffer for hours or until I scream bloody murder.
Wesker is basically saying that Xtra is going to be a little sneak peek of what Ouroboros can do. The worms start grabbing the dead bodies for some reason, and Xtra turns into a super worm. And I mean bigger than the Alaskan bullworm.
That's not the worm. That's his tongue.
So we run from Xtra, the giant worm, and end up back inside of the ship. But she's kind of overtaking the whole ship and attacking us through the vents. I find a document which I obviously do not read. And then we get back outside again, but this time we're fighting against this Alaskan bullworm like Sandy Cheeks. You guys already know. I don't know if I'm the only person that does this when they play Resident Evil, but whenever I see a big ass orange spot like this, like their weak spot, I kind of think of it as like their pimple. Like a giant ass fucking pimple. And so we're just out here trying to shoot the weak spot until the pimple pops. I'm like proactive out here, bro. But then our 2-arm pimple worm evolves into a mod champ and gets 4 pimple arms. We keep shooting the main cyst-like thing and it's just like spewing out worms and shit at us, and it's kind of gross. But we eventually spread enough of this acne cream and the pimple pops. After the fight, Chris is all like, "Oh my god, Wesker was actually serious about destroying the planet? Yeah, dipshit, when did Wesker ever seem like the joking type?" We find out Wesker is going to use a jet to spread Ouroboros, and then we get a call from Jill. She tells us that Wesker's powers come from a virus, but in order to keep the virus in check, he needs to inject inject himself with the serum every now and then. Sheva is all like, oh, so if we cut the serum, then we're good. And Jill goes, yep, but he just took a dose, so it's gonna be a while before he needs another one. So now we're just like,
oh no. That really complicates my life.
Jill says that the amount of serum that he needs has to be precise, so too much of it would be like an overdose. Jill then gives us the serum name, and guess what popped out of the case when we shot at Excella's hand earlier? Yep, you got it, the serum. So that's a happy little coincidence, right? So now we have to evacuate the ship because everything is just kind of blowing up and going to shit. And it's funny because all of these guys that are trying to stop us don't really seem to care that they're gonna get blown up. We get through the bugs and the chain gun twins, although it isn't a very graceful escape, I'll admit. And then we meet up with the man, the myth, the legend, Albert Wesker. He throws his sunglasses at us and Chris is all like,
what the hell?
And catches them for a quick admiration check like, damn, are these Ray-Bans?
You've compromised everything! Our list's integrity! Did you see these shoes, Wendy? They're incredible! It doesn't matter how incredible they are, you can't— Oh my god, those are amazing. Right? Is that a lace across the top? No, it's a little strap. Wendy! Oh, but it doesn't matter.
Wesker kind of claps both of our cheeks and then tells us that he's saving the world by releasing Uroboros. Then he throws us over the guard railing, which initiates a little boss fight. The game plan for this fight is to turn off all of the lights, because I don't know, Wesker is superhuman and all, but apparently he doesn't have very good eyesight. And it probably doesn't help that he's wearing sunglasses at night. Once he loses track of us, we shoot a rocket launcher at him. He ends up catching it, so we shoot it to make it explode. While he's stunned from the explosion, we need to grab him from behind in a non-gay way, and Sheva needs to inject him with the serum. It doesn't work the first time, but we get him the second time.
Great success.
Wesker stumbles around and shows us those beautiful red cat eyes and then runs away into his jet. He takes off, but of course Chris is able to get on with Sheva before the gate closes. While we're on the jet, Wesker says that in 5 minutes we will be at the right altitude to release Uroboros into the atmosphere, pretty much releasing it into the entire fucking planet. Then a classic threesome fight happens, and I'm not gonna lie, Wesker could finish off Chris at any point in time that he chooses if he wasn't so busy monologuing. Wesker catches a knife almost as cool as Leon. And then Chris manages to inject him with another dose of serum. We go to the override lever to open the hatch for some reason, and then Wesker starts to get sucked out, but he grabs onto Sheva's leg at the last minute.
Hang on tight! I'm gonna swing like I'm on a trapeze and live my way up to the cockpit!
Sheva is no joke about to sacrifice herself, but Chris starts to get flashbacks of Jill, kind of like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?
She shoots Wesker and the plane crashes into a volcano of all places. I don't know, man, this game is fucking weird. Wesker takes a moment to show off his body, which I mean, damn, I could see why Xtra liked him. He bonds with Uroboros and turns into this thing. And then we get separated from Sheva. Wesker starts whipping his tentacle at Sheva. And I take offense to that because I'm the only one that can whip her, and that belongs in the bedroom. We shoot at Wesker enough to get Sheva some distance from him, and oh boy, you know what's coming next. That's right, Chris punches a fucking boulder that's over twice his size. Like seriously, what kind of shit is Chris on? Whatever it is, man, I need some. We do enough damage to Wesker to trigger this cutscene where the rock Wesker is standing on breaks. He falls into the lava. Just then, Josh and Jill went up a hill to— no, just joking, they went to go get a helicopter to save us. Wesker screams, Chris! And Chris is all like, yes? Wesker grabs onto the helicopter, so Chris and Sheva shoot Wesker with fucking rocket launchers, effectively ending Wesker and this entire Uroboros Resident Evil 5 shit. Now that they're safe on the helicopter, Chris now has time to monologue. He asks himself if it's really all worth fighting for, and then he answers his own question and says for a future without fear, it's worth it. And excuse you, sir, you better be living lavishly. The government better be paying you fat ass checks. Give this man his fucking money, because if it were me, I would not be doing all this shit for free. Do you know how detached you have to be from your emotions to deal with the shit that he goes through? I swear to God, no amount of counseling in the world is gonna help this man. I'd have a new case of solechiphobia, vermophobia, helminthophobia, whatever tickles your fancy. Let me live in luxury so I can never have to see another worm again. But that is finally going to be the end of the game. As always, I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support. This game took me a lot longer than I thought it would, to be honest, but I really hope you guys enjoy it. Like, subscribe, all that good shit, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.